Hello, hello. Good morning to you all. Monday, January 25th. This is Carrie. Welcome to My Left Ear. I am the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear. That's what I like to call it. I sort of pretend it's my TV show because it's fun. Wouldn't it be nice? And this is for entertainment purposes only. I repeat that. This is for entertainment purposes only. And it is called My Left Ear, as many know now. I get a lot of information through my left ear. No, I don't hear voices. I get like thoughts, very clear, immediate thoughts, answers, like someone is speaking, but I don't hear voices. I want you to know that. I do psychic coaching and therapeutic hypnosis. And I made a video on the therapeutic hypnosis, which you can find. I coach writing and performance because I've written a couple of books. And I did do a video on writing if you're interested. And I am working with more and more writers, and it's really fun helping people. So here we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna get right to it now. I'll get to the inauguration in a moment. I want to talk a moment about the Senate trial that's coming up. Trump is impeached already, but this is to convict him and then prevent him from running for office ever again. I think they have to do a separate vote to wipe out his benefits, meaning he won't get the $1 million a year, he won't get travel clearance, he won't get medical. I don't think he gets any Secret Service. Now, I might be wrong about that, but it would be so minimal if he did. But I think he doesn't if they wipe out his benefits. As you probably are reading, people, businesses, enterprises are pulling their support. Banks that are just holding money, not even loans, they're just holding money. They want the money gone. They don't want his money. So he has to find places to put his money, what he has left of it anyway. And then, I'm in Southern California, and I worked in the movie business for years, and I'm still a member of SAG-AFTRA. And I don't know if you've heard, but SAG-AFTRA is having executive meetings to remove his membership. And that would prevent him from doing another TV show, should that be up his sleeve. So all kinds of interesting things are happening to him. But as you know, he's a bulldozer and he never gives up. He just keeps bulldozing. All right, now we're going to get to the Senate impeachment conviction trial. I did a live feed last Saturday with Marie at Marie's Table and Diane from Diane's Tarot. We had a really good time and we got some good feedback. And they asked me to do runes. I do use runes, but if I do it when the camera's rolling, like right now, it's very time consuming. And it's different than the tarot in that there's a book. And when you pull up a rune, you open the book, and the description of what this rune is about is like a story. So it's a little time consuming. So I went to the runes before we went live, and I asked the runes, will the Senate indict Trump? Convict Trump is the proper word. And I always pick three. When I'm sitting with someone and we're looking at a situation, I pick three because three tells me a story. It always tells me a story, a progressive story. And frankly, I got amazing runes, and I just want to take a moment. I went over it a little bit Saturday night, but I really want to share with you because it's stunning. This is the kind of information that can come. So I wrote it out, and excuse me if I look down a little bit. So the first rune, which is the beginning of the story, like maybe chapter 1, the opening, the introduction, is the rune of constraint. And this is about the necessity of dealing with severe constraints, which of course the Senate is under. I mean, we're 50-50, and we've got the resistance from the GOP, many of them. So this rune can attract negative limitations from those around us, and it identifies the shadow. So as I go into the Senate with this terrible story about the seditionists and the insurrection, it is the shadow story of the United States. So that is just spot on. And it shows us where growth has been stunted, where work is to be done, and that it is a time to restore and pay off old debts. So rectification comes with progress. All right, so that's the setup. Constraints, the shadow, rectification. Now, the second chapter is disruption, the rune of disruption. And that would be like the tower in tarot. So it's about change. It's about freedom and liberation. And this is what the fight is about. It's about breaking free from material reality. And of course, we had a material president. It was all material. It was, what can we, meaning him and his family, get from this presidency? So the disruption is the great awakener. And it's as if the book says we're like emerging from a long sleep. Ain't that the truth? Except I would say nightmare. And there's a new reality. So it tells us, this disruption, that everything that we've taken for granted is tested right now. And it demands that we grow. And growth is usually through pain, not through the good times. I'm sure everybody can agree with me on that. All right, so now we come to the final rune, which is the result, I guess, the end of the story. It's amazing. It's the rune of possessions. But let me tell you what the first word is when you open the book. Fulfillment. Fulfillment. And there can only be fulfillment if Trump is convicted, right? Really good news. Then it goes on to say ambition satisfied, reward received. It's about possessions versus self-rule. Vigilance and mindfulness are needed in times of good fortune. So even when we win and he gets convicted, it says, do not behave recklessly. Vigilance and mindfulness are needed in times of good fortune. And getting rid of Trump in this way would be considered by many of us really good fortune. This was an amazing reading with the runes, and I really felt compelled to share this with you in a little more detail because it's poetic, really poetic. When I last did a video, I said, my left ear doesn't have an answer for you on the Senate because there's more information and evidence coming, and then it came, just like she said. The first thing that came, and it kind of got buried, was that Trump, what do you call it? His fund, his reelection fund or whatever, he paid $2.7 million for the riot rally. So he directly funded the rally, all right, the riot rally, where the Capitol was decimated. And then the story came out about Trump wanted to get rid of DOJ acting AG Rosen and wanted to bring in this other guy, like a flunky DOJ lawyer who's a Trumpist, and get rid of Rosen, go to the Supreme Court, and pretty much demand that they overturn. Well, all these attorneys at the DOJ that are have principles said, we will walk out en masse if this happens. We will not stay. We will leave. We won't even resign. We will just walk out. So that didn't happen. But the guy got caught and the plan got caught. And it's just, it's that evidence that my left ear was waiting for, and there could even be more. So it looks like Trump is going to get convicted in the Senate. That's what it looks like. But it will be hard won, and there will be people against it and will fight it. And I'm just expecting just kind of a nasty trial. And the thing about Trump talking about putting together a cohesive Patriot Party or MAGA Party, right now I think it's talk. I don't think he has the chops to do it. Someone would have to come in and do it for him. He doesn't have any organizational skills, and he doesn't have a media platform at the moment. So I don't really think that's going to go anywhere. And also, when he gets convicted. I want to say something about Trump going to jail, because there's always a lot of talk about that, and there's a lot of things written on Twitter. Trump's going to jail. I can't wait till he goes to jail. I want to share with you that my left ear doesn't really think he's going to jail, but don't panic. Here's what I suspect. He may not survive and be alive to go to jail. That's one piece of it. So I'm just sharing that with you. He may not end up in jail, but he's going to suffer, and he's going to lose property and money, and he already is. And, the pubs, that's what I call the Republicans now, the pubs, they won't want him creating a third party. That's why, some of them are just going to convict him, because they don't want that competition. They don't want the splintering. And then it's going to get in the way of the people that want to run for office or president. We've got some idiots that want to run for president, Hawley and Cruz and Rubio. But they're delusional. They have an inflated idea of who they are, and they think they can do it. And they're not going to be president. So that's what we have to say about all of that. I watched, some of you will be familiar, and I mentioned it on Saturday night, that I watched a Netflix documentary called Heal, H-E-A-L, like healing, and I found it terribly interesting. I know a lot of sick people right now that are really dealing with incredible illnesses, and it seems to be everywhere, people dealing with illnesses aside from COVID. But Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about the biology, that thought influences biology. So thought influences the brain matter. And I got to wondering about the crazy people, the violent people, the Trump people who can't hear anything or see anything, and they are convinced Trump is the answer, their leader, their savior. And I think it started with them taking in thoughts, and then the thoughts affected their brain structure, biology, and I believe that's what we're up against, biology. And so that's really daunting, isn't it? How do you change the brain biology? Just had to mention it. So happy. The inauguration was perfect. It was like perfect. And somehow it was intimate. And I want to say that I think the camera work, the direction, the planning, it really created a strange intimacy during COVID. And something that really popped out at me is that when we see Joe and Jill Biden, and we see Kamala and Doug Harris, Emhoff, or Kamala Harris, Doug Emhoff, these are real marriages. These are real marriages. These are real couples. And boy, do we see the difference, and do we feel the difference. I followed a story that the Trumps released all the nighttime staff at the White House and locked the doors, so that when Joe and Jill Biden showed up, there was nobody there to help them, and the doors were locked. It was easy to think it was a rumor or a story, but it wasn't. And then a story about that the traditional letter was left for Joe Biden. And I think there may have been a letter. I don't think Joe Biden would lie. And he said it was generous. That's what he said. It was generous, but he wasn't going to share it. And I don't think Trump wrote any letter. I think an aide wrote the letter and made it sound pretty good. So that's our thought on that. Locked out of the White House. Oh my God. So yes, I had a lot of tears like you probably did. I think my tears started to flow when I saw Eugene Goodman, the policeman who brilliantly headed a group of wild animals away from the chamber and saved legislators. It was an amazing thing that he did. It wasn't just bravery. It was like how quickly he solved the issue. Amazing. And now he got promoted. He is the sergeant in arms for the Senate. I don't know who got him there, but probably Nancy Pelosi just said, we got to make him the sergeant in arms. So there was a beautiful moment when he escorted Kamala Harris, and I wept. It was just, love that man. And then there were many moments to cry, many moments. A mention about Marafargo, where the Trumps have moved in to their quarters. I don't think the neighbors are going to be able to get them to leave. The neighbors are up in arms. They're going to court because of something that was signed many, many years ago, that it was never meant to be anybody's permanent residence. But what are they going to do? What are they going to do to get Trump out of there? I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going to leave Marafargo. So there you have that. I talked about this idea about creating a commission that specializes in cult and homeland security. And I mentioned who we thought would be on that commission. And I neglected to say that ex-cult members need to be a part of that. Ex-white supremacists, ex-boogaloos, if there are, ex-Proud Boys, because they really know stuff. They really have advice. They really have insight. So I left that off my last video, and I wanted to mention it. They really need to consult with ex-members. And never fear. The legislators who we think may be guilty of helping set up the riots, the sedition, the insurgency, are being investigated carefully. They will be brought up. The names will be brought up. It just takes a little time. Be patient. Even Nancy Pelosi did an interview, and I think it was with Joy Reid, and she was very firm that these people are being investigated. So we want to say, never fear. We're ferreting out the traitors, and they will be accountable. Just be a little bit patient. That's what my left ear says. Yeah, I'm just reading. Slow and steady. Hawley and Cruz will never resign. They're not made of that. They just are going to hang in and insist they're right and defend their position, and on and on and on. So one last thing about the stimulus. You know, when these haters, people who hate Democrats, hate Biden, hate that we won, when they start getting money, when they start getting increased unemployment, stimulus checks, I'm going to say I think they're going to buy fishing gear and four-wheel drives and go hunting and fishing. I think the money is going to calm a lot of people down. It's not the answer to everything, but I think something interesting is going to happen when these angry people get a stimulus and get unemployment. And it's not from Trump. It's from the Biden administration. So we'll see what happens there. It's time for the quotes, people. And I'm giving kudos to Senator Al Franken because You know, he resigned over a photograph that was taken when he was a comedy writer. And now we see who really needs to resign. I mean, really needs to resign. And it's pretty, in my world, in our world, it's pretty sickening that Al Franken resigned. Just fabulous member of the Senate. But he has a quote about Ted Cruz that's just, you know, what can I say? Have fun with this. Al Franken said, "I like Ted Cruz more than most of my other colleagues like Ted Cruz. And I hate Ted Cruz." I like Ted Cruz more than most of my other colleagues like Ted Cruz, and I hate Ted Cruz. Thank you, Senator Al Franken. And then the next one is a little more, you know, has a little more gravitas. It's Albert Einstein. And he wrote, "There's something amazing about America's democracy. It's got a gyroscope, and just when you think it's going to go off the cliff, it rights itself." That's physics, right? There's something amazing about America's democracy. It's got a gyroscope, and just when you think it's going to go off the cliff, it rights itself. So I think that's happening right now. Not everything is going to be great. We're still dealing with a lot of mess. But the first order got handled. We got the Biden administration in, Kamala in. We got the senators from Georgia in. So that is a good beginning. And we'll take it from there. So as I always say, make peace, make good memories. That way you won't have regrets. That's what's behind make peace, make memories. And I'll talk to you soon. And I thank you for new subscriptions. I got new subscribers after appearing with Marie and Diane last Saturday night. So I'm very excited about that. If you're new, please hit subscribe. I'm growing this, and I'm having a good time, and I hope you are too. And I will see you soon. And here we come to the goodbye moment. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.